Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches a nationwide outreach and awareness campaign on the occasion of National Tribal Pride Day. UK top court upholds ruling that the country's Rwanda migrant plan is unlawful. And Virat Kohli surpasses Tendulkar, scores 50th ODI ton to set a new world record. India posts 397 for 4 against New Zealand. First up, updates from the Israel-Hamas conflict. The Israeli military has carried out an operation against the Hamas in Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital on Wednesday and urged all members of the terror group in the hospital to surrender.
The Israeli military conducted raids in self-defense against Hamas at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital on Wednesday. Israel believes that Hamas has a command center underneath Al-Shifa hospital, the biggest in Gaza, and uses the hospital and tunnels underneath to conceal military operations and to hold hostages. IDF stated that Hamas uses hospitals for terrorism instead of treating the ill, and this sick exploitation of the Gazan people must be stopped.
Hamas sees ill Gazans as an opportunity to put the most vulnerable in the line of fire. Just last week, in the Rantisi hospital, Ahmed Siam, a company commander in the Hamas, was conducting terrorism from within the hospital while holding 1,000 patients, medical staff, and innocent people as hostages. Ahmed Siam knew by preventing their evacuation, they were shielding him. We know that Hamas has done this for years.
IDF forces included medical teams and Arabic speakers who have undergone specified training to prepare for the hospital raid with the intent that no harm is caused to the civilians being used by Hamas as human shields. United States supported the safe evacuation of patients at Gaza hospitals, asserting that Hamas should stop using hospitals as a command post.
We don't want to see any civilians, and certainly not babies in incubators or other vulnerable populations caught in a crossfire. We want Hamas to stop using hospitals as a command post. That would be the easiest way to solve this problem, if they would stop using the civilians that are in hospitals as humanitarian shields.
The World Health Organization has acknowledged the challenges faced by Al-Shifa hospital staff in caring for patients amid turbulent times.
Everyone in that hospital is in a really, really dire situation. All their lives are so threatened. So we as the world have to find a way to help them. The best way would be to stop the hostilities right now, focus on saving lives, not taking lives.
Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Israeli army released footage of what it said were its soldiers carrying out military operations and dismantling Hamas centers and capabilities it has built over the years in Gaza's Al-Shati.
And my colleague Sarah Coates joins us from Tel Aviv for more. Sarah, what more do we know about the situation inside the Al-Shifa hospital?
Well, look, the Israeli military says it's operating in a different area to where the patients are being held. But from what we can gather from a number of reports on the ground, many men are being taken out of this hospital and questioned, interrogated, if you will, in the courtyard of Al-Shifa hospital. Now, a doctor who also works inside that medical facility has said that there's shooting inside the facility, also a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, while Hamas has released pictures purporting to show damage to rooms of Al-Shifa hospital. Now, the Israeli military has been going room to room looking for what it says is evidence that Hamas has been using this facility as a military base, also looking for evidence of these 240 hostages that are being held inside the Gaza Strip. Now, so far it says it's found weapons, but it hasn't found any evidence of these hostages. Now, this is a very large complex. It's the largest hospital in the Gaza Strip. It spans 22 acres of territory in the north, and we do know that tanks have now rolled into the grounds of Al-Shifa hospital, and it's not yet clear just how long this operation will go on for.
Also, Sarah, what can you tell us about the aid situation inside the enclave that's Gaza?
Well, look, a truck carrying fuel has just crossed through the Rafah crossing from Egypt into Gaza. This is the first truck that's actually been delivering fuel since October 7. 24,000 litres we can report, and aid groups say that while they desperately need this, it is simply not enough. Now, the head of UNRWA, which is the UN refugee agency group which looks after Palestinians in the West Bank and also the Gaza Strip, they say that these water treatment plants, also sewage pumping facilities in the southern end of the Gaza Strip, they say they are about to shut down, while it's also understood, according to communications companies like the biggest one in the Strip, Paltel, that they're about to go dark as well, simply due to a lack of fuel. Now, Israel has once again opened these humanitarian corridors down Salah al-Din Road, which is the main road that runs from the north to the south, urging people who do remain in the north of the Gaza Strip to go down to the south for their own safety. Now, this road will reportedly be opened for a few more hours, but aid groups say the situation down in the south, where these people are being told to go, is unbearable. They say it's overcrowded, supplies are low, and they're at the point of collapse.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Sarah. Thank you, appreciate it. And now take a look at some more stories making news around the world. Argentina's energy subsidies that keep prices at a minimum for 2/3 of consumers has led to a staggering $12 billion energy conundrum. These subsidies that keep energy bills at under 15% normal will play a key role in a runoff presidential election on Sunday between Economy Minister Sergio Massa and Libertarian outsider Javier Milei. UK's Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt said on Wednesday that the government was winning its battle against inflation and that should now turn to its plans for generating long-term economic growth. UK inflation cooled more than expected in October as household energy prices dropped from a year ago, and there was also a wider softening of price pressures. Australian police on Wednesday arrested 28 people in an operation against one of the most powerful criminal networks in the country's history. The syndicate that police said originated from Lebanon is alleged to be linked to the movement of more than $648.9 million through firearm, drug, tobacco and money laundering offences. The puketeke, a bird that pukes, grunts, growls and has bizarre mating rituals, won New Zealand's Bird of the Century title on Wednesday in a competition where American-British comedian John Oliver's involvement has ruffled some local feathers. Oliver exploited a loophole in the system that allows anyone to vote from anywhere for a bird. As India remembers tribal freedom fighter Birsa Munda on his birth anniversary today, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tributes to his legacy in Jharkhand. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also inaugurated and dedicated various projects worth billions of dollars to the nation on the occasion. More in the next report.
India celebrates National Tribal Pride Day, dedicated to honor the legacy of revered tribal freedom fighter Birsa Munda, whose indomitable spirit and relentless struggle against colonial rule continue to inspire generations. To pay his tributes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Bhagwan Birsa Munda Memorial Park and Freedom Fighter Museum in the Indian city of Ranchi and paid him floral tributes.
झारखंड आना मुझे पुरानी स्मृतियों को ताजा करने का अवसर भी देता है। गरीबों की सबसे बड़ी ताकत आयुष्मान भारत योजना की शुरुआत झारखंड से ही हुई थी। कुछ ही साल पहले खूंटी में मैंने सोलर पावर से चलने वाले जिला न्यायालय का उद्घाटन किया था। अब आज झारखंड की इस पावन भूमि से एक नहीं बल्कि दो ऐतिहासिक अभियानों की शुरुआत होने जा रही है। विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा सैचुरेशन के सरकार के लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने का सशक्त माध्यम बनेगी। पीएम जनजाति आदिवासी न्याय महाअभियान विलुप्त होने की कगार पर खड़ी जनजातियां, जिसे हम अब तक प्रिमिटिव ट्राइब के रूप में जानते हैं, उनकी रक्षा करेगा, उन्हें सशक्त करेगा। ये दोनों ही अभियान अमृत काल में भारत की विकास यात्रा को नई ऊर्जा देंगे।
Prime Minister Modi, who is on a two-day visit to the Indian state of Jharkhand, also visited Olihatu village, the birthplace of Bhagwan Birsa Munda. PM participated in a program marking the celebrations of 3rd Tribal Pride Day, where he flagged off Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, that is to begin with tribal-dominated districts and will cover the entire country by January 2024.
अभी 50,000 करोड़ रुपए की अलग अलग योजनाओं का उपहार मिला है। आज झारखंड में रेलवे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और कनेक्टिविटी के विस्तार के तहत कई रेल परियोजनाओं को शुरू किया गया है। आपको ये जानकर खुशी होगी कि झारखंड भी देश के 100% इलेक्ट्रिफाइड रेल रूट वाला राज्य बन गया है।
PM Modi further praised Jharkhand for becoming a state with 100% electrified railway routes in the country. Prime Minister also launched Pradhan Mantri Particularly Vulnerable Tribal Groups Development Mission with a budget of around 24,000 crore rupees, as well as 15th installment amount of about 18,000 crore rupees under PM Kisan. During the event, PM Modi laid the foundation stone of various projects worth rupees 7,200 crore rupees in Jharkhand.
And still to come on DD India Live. UK top court says the country's Rwanda deportation policy is unlawful. And India showcases its prowess at Dubai Air Show.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such change makers. Watch Change Makers on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. Southeast Asian defense ministers called for an end to the Myanmar crisis and to the Israel-Hamas conflict on Wednesday as they gathered for talks that will include meetings with regional counterparts and the Pentagon chief. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, meetings in Jakarta were dominated by issues ranging from the Myanmar crisis to the conflict between Israel and the Hamas, as well as Beijing's growing assertiveness in the disputed South China Sea. In a joint declaration, the ASEAN defense ministers also urged all parties in Myanmar, where fighting has been raging across the northern Shan state for weeks now, to cease all violence and exercise utmost restraint.
We are saddened with the deteriorating situation in Myanmar. Indonesia, as chair of ASEAN, continues to push for concrete progress towards a peaceful solution. Indonesia will continue to support Myanmar's efforts to bring peace, stability, and the rule of law, as well as promote harmony and reconciliation. Indonesia encourages other ASEAN member states to support Myanmar to find a peaceful and durable solution to the current situation.
On day 2 of a 3-day global media congress held in Abu Dhabi in the UAE, media pioneers and forward thinkers worldwide engaged in thought-provoking discussions encompassing digital communication, artificial intelligence, and creative aspects of the media. The agenda spanned broader sessions covering print journalism, radio, streaming, and the influence of global figures, with more than 15,000 attendees. The spotlight was on the keynote address delivered by Omar Sultan Al Olama, the UAE's Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence.
The media sector is going to be one of the biggest benefactors of artificial intelligence around the world. The fact that today we're able to actually produce content at a much higher effective scale than we were able to do in the past. We're able to tailor it to the customer directly or to the reader directly, and we're able to translate it in any language in the world in the highest degree of accuracy, ensures that media entities are going to be able to distribute their content even more widespread. There is a fundamental need for the media outlets of the world to actually focus on being an accredited, trusted source for true information.
India proudly unveiled its cutting-edge HAL twin-engine deck-based fighter at the Dubai Air Show, a key addition to the Indian Navy's arsenal. The twin engines enable shorter takeoffs from Indian Navy carriers. Now, India's participation reflects its dedication to excellence and innovation in aviation, showcased biennially at the Dubai Air Show.
We are showcasing a lot of DRDO products in the Dubai Air Show 2002-03, and twin-engine deck-based fighter TED-BF is one of the leading technologies which we are showcasing in Dubai Air Show. This is an aircraft which is having the capability of stow bar. This is a carrier-borne aircraft. Stow bar means short takeoff but arrested recovery. This aircraft is capable to land within a short span of 90 meters and take off within a short span of 200 meters. This aircraft, we have got various features for the stowage on the aircraft carrier, that is folded wing. So wings can be folded in this aircraft. This has got a very good payload capacity, that is 7.5 tons. This is having twin engine, and it has got a lot of new avionics, advanced sensors fused into the aircraft to suffice it for the requirement of the modern warfare scenario. This aircraft is one of the challenging aircraft now, which will be replacing MiG-29K for the Indian Navy.
The UK's top court ruled on Wednesday that the UK government's scheme to send asylum seekers back to Rwanda was unlawful. The court unanimously rejected the government's appeal against an earlier ruling that migrants could not be sent to Rwanda because it could not be considered a safe third country. The Rwanda scheme is the central plank of Sunak's immigration policy as he prepares to face an election next year. And my colleague Julia Chapman now joins us from London for more. Julia, does it complicate matters for Sunak, who has promised to use the asylum policy to get tough on migration as an election looms?
It certainly does make things more difficult for the Prime Minister. This was one of his central policies, cracking down on unofficial migration, specifically the crossings over the English Channel of refugees in small boats. The government claimed that this policy would have deterred people from attempting that dangerous journey, something that migrant charities have rejected would have been the case. But now the government says it is looking at alternatives after the top court ruled this policy in its current form was unlawful, deeming Rwanda to be an unsafe country because of the risk, it said, of people being sent back to their country of origin, places that they were fleeing on fears of being persecuted. So certainly a pretty damning conclusion from the court, but the government says that they are looking at revising that agreement with Rwanda in order to address some of the justice's concerns. The Foreign Secretary, James Cleverly, saying just now that they are considering turning that memorandum of understanding into a more binding treaty, although it is difficult to see how that will address some of the issues that the justices were pointing to, the fears over the lack of independence of the judiciary, accusations that there have been extrajudicial killings carried out in Rwanda, and accusations as well that there is a prejudice against immigrants coming from certain countries that could affect the way that Rwanda processes asylum claims. This is a big political issue in the UK, one the government has vowed to crack down on, but undoubtedly this will be a setback for the government of Rishi Sunak, as he's expected to have to call an election in the next year.
Julia, for the benefit of viewers joining us from around the world, how have various stakeholders reacted to the judgment, such as the opposition parties or civil society? What's been the general reaction like to the judgment?
Well, civil society has certainly welcomed this verdict. We've seen a number of charities saying that this was the right decision, that it would not just be unlawful but immoral to send asylum seekers to a different country for processing, arguing that the UK has an obligation to take in people who are fleeing to its shores. And the opposition has accused the government of wasting time and wasting taxpayer money. So far, already £140 million has been paid to Rwanda in order to get this scheme off the ground. It's not clear what's going to happen to that arrangement now. Certainly the government is looking at alternatives, but it's unclear that that can happen anytime soon. And Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition Labour Party here in the UK, has also said that the government had no plan B. This is not a policy that the Labour Party said it would pursue if it comes to power in the next election, criticising it for being too expensive and inefficient. But certainly it has said that immigration is an issue that it wants to tackle as well, and it says that Rishi Sunak's government simply isn't going about it the right way.
Julia, thank you, appreciate it. Julia Chapman reporting from London. In other news, India and the US signed a memorandum of understanding on enhancing innovation ecosystems as India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and US Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo met on the sidelines of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework Ministerial meeting in the US city of San Francisco. The MOU signals a joint commitment to strengthening the startup ecosystem in deep tech sectors and promote cooperation in critical and emerging technologies. The MOU was signed at a roundtable co-chaired by Goyal and Raimondo. Titled Decoding Innovation Handshake, the roundtable was attended by investors and startup CEOs. India joined the US and 12 other Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity partners to ink the IPEF Supply Chain Resilience Agreement. The deal will strengthen global supply chains and foster adaptability, stability, and sustainability. On the occasion, Indian Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal thanked US Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo for her leadership and personal commitment to ensuring that this truly historic moment towards a more resilient future. On the sidelines of the IPEF meeting, Piyush Goyal met his counterparts from Malaysia and Indonesia. He urged Malaysia, which is the ASEAN coordinator for India, for an early conclusion of review of the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement. The Indian minister then held a discussion on deepening bilateral trade and investment ties with Indonesia's coordinating minister for economic affairs. Minister Goyal also met the president and CEO of Lam Research, Tim Archup. The American firm provides services to the semiconductor industry. The duo discussed innovation-led future and investment opportunities in India's semiconductor and deep tech space that is ably supported by a robust talent pool. Goyal also addressed entrepreneurs from the Indian diaspora. He highlighted the role of digitization in India's growth.
Today, all our programs are developed on the back of huge amount of engagement with technology, get into the root cause of every problem, resolve that problem using the latest in terms of digital softwares, digital ideas. And I'm happy to report to you that just as we had discussed last year when I was here, sometime in September, we have continued to do well in the Indian economy. We continue to grow at about 7%.
U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are both in San Francisco, where they will hold talks on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. It's Xi's first visit to the U.S. since 2017, and it will be the two leaders' first in-person one-on-one talks since November 2022. The presidents of the world's strongest economies are meeting for the second time in person since Biden took office in January 2021. The meeting's agenda is to resume normal communications between the two countries, including military-to-military contacts. An update now from the ICC Cricket World Cup. India is taking on New Zealand in the first semi-final at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. India posted a formidable total of 397 for the loss of just 4 wickets after Virat Kohli broke Sachin Tendulkar's record of 49 centuries in one-day internationals. Kohli also broke Tendulkar's all-time record for most runs in the ODI World Cup edition. Shreyas Iyer also scored his 5th ODI century. And my colleague Abhishek Mahajan joins us from Mumbai for more on this match. Abhishek, Kohli shines in India's spirited batting display. Iyer also excels with the bat. How would you characterize the Indian innings?
Absolutely, Ramesh. Tremendous performance by the Indian team in the first innings. We were talking about in the pre-match show also that India, if they win the toss, they would look to bat first. And they have played the same way that they played in the league games also, league matches also, 9 out of 9 games that they won. But a complete performance by the Indian batters. Half of the work is done. They have scored 397, and it's a huge target for the New Zealand team. And cherry on the cake, like Virat Kohli scored his 50th ODI ton, and every tissue, every muscle, every vein of Virat Kohli wanted to complete, wanted to score this 50th ODI ton. He wanted to get his monkey off the back. And what a tremendous performance. Sachin Tendulkar was there at the stands, and he bowed down to Sachin Tendulkar. His wife Anushka Sharma was also there. And remember, Ramesh, this is the same place, Wankhede Stadium, where India won the World Cup in 2011, and Virat Kohli had carried Sachin Tendulkar on his shoulders. Right. And Sachin Tendulkar had also said, when the question was asked from him, Indeed, who can break your record of most centuries in ODIs and also in test matches, and he said that he took the names of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, and Virat Kohli has finally done it. And tremendous performance by the Indian team. And yes, it will be a huge task for New Zealand team to
Abhishek, I hate to interrupt you there, but we're running out of time. I will have to leave it at that. Thank you. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website, ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.